We have to embrace each moment for what it was meant to be. That it's not an accident, that it's not coincidence, but that God has us in our places and in these times and moments on purpose. So recently, I read a book entitled Off the Clock, Feel Less Busy While Getting More Done by Laura Vanderkam. I've read a lot of time management books. I got my Full Focus, Michael Hyatt, Full Focus planner that it comes with me everywhere I go. I am a time management, fanatic. And it's interesting how Laura talks about this. She describes the fact that we live in an age of distraction, that everything is pulling at our attention. Everything is demanding our attention, whether it be our devices or causes or different people with their agendas for how we should be spending our time. It's all pulling on us, and it's easy to try to do 100 different things and feeling pulled in 100 different directions. As we're distracted, time slips by without even noticing it, and suddenly you feel like, where did it all go? I mean, I've felt this myself as I'm on the internet and I go in and Google something specifically, and then before I know it, it's 2 hours later and I'm on a page I never meant to be on, have no idea how I got there, and then maybe don't even remember why I originally got online to begin with. It's crazy making, that's for sure. But this happens all the time. And Laura Vanderkam says that our desire to want to have more time actually comes more from a desire for deeper, more meaningful memories. Because when you're living distracted, you're not fully present in one place. And when you are fully present in one place, time deepens and broadens and becomes more meaningful. Let me give you an example. We went on a hiking trip with some friends of ours, and we went with our kids, and it's interesting because it was only 2 or 3 hours maybe. We went up to a place called McConnell's Mills here north of Pittsburgh. Really beautiful area with a river and rocks, and it was really pretty out in the woods. The whole trip, minus the driving, the whole time we spent there was probably 2 to 3 hours max, maybe. But it felt like a whole day because we spent so much time as we were walking together without any devices, without any distractions, just interacting with our friends, telling stories, hearing about their experiences, them hearing about our experiences, hanging out with our kids together. And the experience actually broadened and deepened our time. And now, afterward, we've got some really great memories associated with that experience. But here's the catch, and Laura Vanderkam talks about this in her book, Off the Clock. She mentions the fact that our present self will often battle against us with creating these memories. So, for example, as we were getting ready to go on this trip, there's all sorts of little annoyances and complications. There's always something last minute that comes up. There's almost always, every time we drive out of our driveway, my wife is like, "Did you remember this?" And I say, "Nope, totally forgot." Turn around, go back again. These things just frustrate us and discourage us from engaging in some of these experiences that could contribute to deeper, more meaningful memories. But our future self, with the memories that were created from that experience, is going to look back with, in a sense, rose-colored glasses, actually. We're going to look back and say, and look at the good things about it. We actually remember the fun, the way people made us feel, the interactions, the relationships, the experience, even the smells and the sights and the tastes of the experience that you have. They stick with us in very positive ways, and it gives us the impression that time has been extended and deepened and widened and been more fulfilling. So I loved this book because it was a very different approach to time management. Instead of managing our time, it's how we maximize our time and how we approach the time that we are experiencing in the moment, so that we can get beyond our present self, maybe embrace some discomfort and inconvenience, so that we can get through to the other side and really have some really meaningful experiences and memories and lessons learned and all that kind of stuff that really enriches our lives then. But this book really caused me to slow down and begin to just start approaching different moments without being distracted, being fully present, and just maximizing it. So men, I want to bring up a passage of scripture that I think relates very well to this, and it's very famous. Everybody's probably, well, a lot of people, most people have probably heard this passage out of Ecclesiastes, and this is chapter 3, and it's entitled A Time for Everything. And it says, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. We have to embrace each moment for what it was meant to be. That it's not an accident, that it's not coincidence, but that God has us in our places and in these times and moments on purpose. We have a limited amount of energy and focus we can give to anything. And when we live our lives distracted, we don't have the time for when it's time, for when the time is appropriate, when we don't approach it from a position of purpose and meaning, and that God may have something for us in those moments, and we need to step into those expectantly. Not just, oh gosh, I got to get through this because I've got something else coming up that I know I've got to deal with, and I'm distracted, I've got a million things on my mind, but to put those things aside and to really enter into the experience in that moment, I think that's God's will for us, really. So I know I'm going to start working on this myself. I've kind of already started, just to be willing to embrace the suck, the inconvenience, the discomfort that sometimes happens. Because guess what? It's an investment for your future self. It's an investment for the future selves of your family, your future wife, your future kids, your future friends, your future community, whatever that looks like. These things are not just even for yourselves, but it's for others as well. And hopefully it helps us when we let go of our comfort and embrace discomfort. It helps us to get over ourselves and start living for others and for God's grander purposes in our lives. Remember to subscribe to this channel, continue on this journey with me. This channel is basically for men who are seeking to live empowered by the light. So I encourage you to join me on this journey. I learn best, obviously, with other guys involved. So feel free to make any comments in the comment section. I'd love to hear what are some ways maybe that you're feeling distracted. What are some ways that maybe you feel like you need to maximize the moments in your life, to embrace the suck or discomfort. And guys, let's just continue to live empowered by the light.